evening, Western Standard viewers, and welcome to Hannaford, a weekly politics show. It is Thursday, November the 20th. Sometimes what seems obvious to people who work hard, pay their taxes, and play by the rules doesn't seem obvious to the people who get elected. In many cities across Canada, councils were raising the Palestinian flag as though there was something worth celebrating in the terrorist gang that seeks the destruction of Jews, not just in Israel, but everywhere. If you haven't seen the film Nuremberg, go take a look. There's a nasty bit in there in the middle. But that's what the Jews have experienced within the last 100 years. Now they have a homeland, and then they get attacked by their neighbors. So anyway, Calgary hoisted the Palestinian flag last Saturday. With me today is Landon Johnston, newly elected councillor for Ward 14. Landon, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first, congratulations on your win.
I appreciate that.
No, the word on the ground was that you worked pretty hard for that. You were very visible. But I guess nothing would have been more visible than your campaign to recall the former mayor, Jody Gondek. Do you think that might have had something to do with name recognition?
I would think it probably did have a little bit to do with it.
But that's not why you did the recall.
No, definitely not. No.
Tell us why you. I know you've spoken before on this, but what most people don't bother. They just don't vote. You bothered. Why did you go after the mayor?
I think, like a lot of people, I was just frustrated. And it's just the way I grew up was, there's one thing to be frustrated, but then there's one thing to do something about it. And so, like my sisters and my mom, we see a problem, we try and fix it. So when I saw a problem, I saw a mayor that was not a great leader, to be honest. I just felt we could have done better than that. I felt she had a good chance to be the first female mayor in the city, and she just let that slip past. And it was just one thing after another with her, just very divisive, and I just had enough of it. And I saw a piece of legislation that was questionable, but still accessible to everybody to use. And I thought, why not, right?
So that, obviously weren't successful. A good try, but no cigar. At some point you said, I need to get on council. Why did you want to be on council?
I guess, again, it's just you want to fix something. And then...
Okay, what do you want to fix on council?
Everything. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
You have my vote. Now,
yeah.
Let's be specific. Let's start talking about the flag thing first of all. All right. I guess they took a vote and decided not to make it a priority. They'll get to it in due course. Meanwhile, everybody's wanting to fly their home country flag. Is this even a good thing?
Not for me. I don't necessarily... agree with having any foreign flag being flown, not any specific ones. And then it's up to the discretion of the mayor for the past, since 2016, I think it was, the discretion of the mayor on which flags to fly, right? And so we ended up actually doing a little deep dive into see how many flags actually have been denied. So I can share with you that later. It's interesting. The decline, they use the word decline application, right? And so some of them were like a Star Trek flag, some of them would have been pride flags and transgender flags that were actually denied because you can only have it up once a year on that flagpole. So it was interesting to see there's a list about 10, 15 flags that actually have been denied in the past. One of them was like Church of Christ, so religious reasons or whatever, but it really ultimately comes down to the discretion of the mayor. And so for me, it was the process in which led to the Palestinian flag going up that was frustrating for a lot of the council members as well, being fed a date that the applicant actually filed was the 29th or 30th or whatever. And then the confusion was well, then who decided to change it to the 15th or whatever, right? And so that would have brought it before when the mayor was going to bring forward a motion to...
This is all getting a little inside the council chamber, but what's the real issue here? Is that they that they wanted to fly the Palestinian flag?
Well, the mayor went around and talked to all the councillors asking, I don't really know if he asked us what our thoughts were, if we were for it or against it.
What did he ask you?
I can't remember. I'll be honest. Like, it was a bit of a rush, but he did come to the office and say, "Hey, we're gonna fly the flag." And I said, "Well, why?" Right? First off, like, you have the discretion. And now, to be fair, I didn't actually say this to him. He said, we're gonna fly the flag. Carney recognized Palestine, and so he's gonna follow with what Carney did. And again, I said, okay, like, we can deal with this through the proper channels. He ran out, and whatever. But the real process kind of started after he left, where we started talking with other counselors, and they were kind of being fed similar stories, but again, it was just confusion, right? Why are we flying this flag, right? Should we not maybe think about it? Should we not have more time to debate it, right? And that was why it actually was denied. Is just that the other counselors felt, we should talk about it, put it to the public to decide. The process is what bugged me, right? Either fly all the flags or don't fly any flags, right? And for me, as a Calgarian Canadian, there should only be one flag up there, maybe two, maybe three, but outside of that,
for people, 3 flags.
Well,
Canada, Alberta, the city.
I mean, and then Treaty 7 wants to get a flag up there. The Métis want to get a flag up there, right? It's just, there's a lot of stakeholders in our country that could have a flag up there. And flags are important to us. Like, the Canadian flag is actually an interesting flag, is that 3 or 4 years ago or 5 years ago, it was used as a symbol for, let's say, more right-wing people to rally around during the COVID trucker protests, right? And then that kind of swapped around when Carney got in, Canada first, and now that flag is more on the left side of the aisle, right? And so, but I like the idea that the flag is a rallying point, right? People like or don't like it
as a rallying point. Why would you want to fly the Palestinian
exactly
flag?
Well, that's the problem, right? Why would we fly a flag that was divisive, right? And the mayor did have the opportunity to not fly it, and so that was a frustrating point. Is like, well, why don't we just not fly it and then still have the process?
So welcome to the rude world of local politics.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, talking of the rude world of local politics, I gather that you were blocked from sitting on the board of the Calgary Housing. Is it an authority or?
So it's a wholly owned business. So the city of Calgary owns Calgary Housing. It's had its name changed recently. Can't remember what it was called before, but basically last year I went through the procurement process for my first time, and I won a contract through Calgary Housing, and that was
for the few years. You're what is it? What is your business?
Right. So I'm a HVAC owner. So we do plumbing, heating, air conditioning, duct cleaning. So for past 13, 15 years, I've been doing HVAC in Calgary, right?
So you know the ins and outs of what goes on, and when you go to a house, you have to fix things up and how the billing and everything else works.
Yeah, I've got 2 tickets, and I've got my plumbing apprenticeship. So I've got refrigeration, HVAC, I've got my gas ticket, and working on my plumbing ticket. Maybe not so much right now, but and so I got a procurement through the city of Calgary, and then I started the contract, and it just from day one it went sideways, right? The very first interview I had with the team lead, I can't remember his name, but he basically said, "Oh, you're that guy, right? The recall guy." But he's the recall guy, right? And so, and in my experience, that could either go one of two ways, right? You have the mayor's fans and then the mayor's non-fans, right? In my opinion, this guy was a mayor fan, and so he made it very clear that he's upset with me and all this, and I was like, I don't know how to deal with this, and it was frustrating. So he ended up getting taken off of the project, right? And so obviously there was a conflict with him, with me, and then again, the next guy that came in, it was just one thing after another, just the mismanagement of the entire process. It was very frustrating to be giving such a large contract, but then have to deal with such mismanagement, right? And so I it was stressful, right?
But in the end, the job got done.
In the end, I believe, they lost the contract to the province. So the province actually came in and took the contract away from City of Calgary or Calgary Housing. And then I finished the contract through the province. And it was actually the province who had always owned the houses, and it was their contract. It was just being facilitated through Calgary Housing.
Yes.
Right. And so I did finish the contract back in the spring. I mean, it took about 4 months longer than it should have. But I mean, just it was torture.
But you got paid. The job got done, and you got paid. Should have been the end of the story.
Yeah, permitted. Everything was done.
You get elected to council on the rebound from this. Actually, I would call it a successful recall campaign, in as much as that you even got it to happen. But leaving that aside, now you're on council. And did you ask to be on the board of this particular Calgary Housing Authority?
It was a big reason why I got hired as a councillor, right? People were very well aware of my issues with Calgary Housing. I talked to
people in the ward.
I talked to them about doors. They'd always ask me where there's mismanagement and waste in that. And I said, well, I have firsthand experience of this, right? And the whole idea of me being on the board isn't to...
I'm sure that wasn't the only reason that you ran for council.
No, but it was a big part of it, because there's waste all over and people are wondering why their taxes are going up. And then me seeing firsthand where their taxes are going, and I could be like, well, if I can get in there, expose the mismanagement, maybe we can deal with the level of taxes, right? That was my idea, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, I put my name on the list for committees. And again, it's a process that we're dealing with as council members. So on Friday, I hand in my list for which committees I want to be on.
Mm-hmm.
At some point during the weekend, a letter was sent to the mayor, right? Just in dark of night, he got a letter. And then the date of the organizational meeting, he brings me behind closed doors and says, hey, I received the letter from Calgary Housing. And I said, oh, well, I kind of think I know what that letter is going to say, right? And so, and I was very vocal with Calgary Housing of my disdain for their operation, right? I was very clear about that. They called me a bully, right? They said I would bully them. All I ever said to them was that if I ever become councillor, I'm going to audit you guys, right?
Well,
right. And they didn't like that.
The average civil servant would take that as bullying, I guess.
That's fine. They call it bullying, whatever.
I mean,
I'm never going to sugarcoat it.
Let's just be very specific about what's happened here.
Right.
You run for council.
Right.
Part of your engagement with the public says, I actually have some insight into how things are done in City Hall, and there are things that I don't like. And you wouldn't like it either, because whenever there's waste, up go your taxes. People said, you the man. We need somebody like that who knows stuff to ask the right questions and maybe bring about effective change. You then go get elected. You get elected quite handsomely, as a matter of fact. You then put down to go on the committee where you can
do the most
good.
Right.
And the administration, somebody within the administration, actually said, oh, we don't want him. So who's actually doing the job? Who's appointing people to committees? Is it the ones that the city administration likes? Or is it actually the mayor and council? Something seems a little...
Well, no, the precedent has now been set that administration can pick and choose who they want to be on a council, right? As long as they put confidential on any memo they send to the mayor can now, again, at his discretion, he could have waited on that letter because he read it. He was the only one that actually had read this letter. And I do have to be careful because a lot of what was said in camera. And again, that was something he promised not to do as much as the last mayor did. And it was one of the first things he did was go in camera. Right. And again, it was I can use the word prejudice because that's a behavioral word. Right. And so there was prejudice in camera. Right. Mm-hmm. And so again, I felt that kept me off of a board. Now, if you look, I did take my name off of the committee, but I can't talk about why I did that because the reasons were in camera. Right. And the whole purpose of me bringing this notice of motion forward was to release the confidentiality of in camera, right? So as long as it's in the public, we can talk about it. And so the idea was to get that memo read to everybody, which I'm still trying to figure out if I can release it, because I had to ask the mayor to allow the rest of council to see what that letter said after we had already picked, right? So the waters have been muddied, right? The council now thinks, well, maybe there was a conflict of interest or whatever. So I'm all about finding the truth. I have nothing to hide. I didn't do anything wrong with Calgary Housing. I might have been abrasive. I might have been frustrated, but if people, and I've been asking for a third-party mediator for over a year to look into the allegations that I've made and the allegations that Calgary Housing has made, and I 100% believe I'll be cleared. People understand that there is some frustrations and some misdoings at Calgary Housing, and if it's basically based off of what I saw personally, I think people would.
So what committees did they put you on in the end?
There's the Intergovernmental Committee, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities,
Okay.
The Pension Committee. I'm excited about that one.
Committee.
Yeah.
Well,
I could do some good in there too.
Yeah. I believe you might.
Yeah.
No, but it's just
Yeah.
I can sense your frustration, and I tend to sympathize it with the one thing that you actually know something about. You can make a serious input into, but they don't want to hear from you.
I should be on that, and I just want to have the fair chance of being on that committee. I don't know if the rest of the council would vote.
Did you know that that administration might be a problem before you?
Always.
Okay.
I have more.
How did you know? What did you know?
Well, I filed almost 1,000 Freedom of Information Act requests right across Canada, and a big portion of that was in the city of Calgary. Right, yes. So I have. On every single department, I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of emails, whatever. It's just, as a HVAC owner who works hard, I've got time to play, and this is how I play. Is I like to investigate things. I like to find the truth.
So, Landon, I mean, were they forthcoming? If you have these information requests, and they actually get back and give you meaningful information?
Only if you flood them with enough that they can't redact everything. Right. And so if you ask for 10 pieces of paper, they'll redact everything properly. Right. But if you ask for 1,000 pieces of paper, they might miss something. So, it was very interesting to see what I found out during these little investigations, which, again, I'm not here to burn the system down. But if nobody's in there who understands the problems, then nobody's going to fix it. Right. And so.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you have some experience of dealing with council that goes way back before you were elected. So, do you think the council actually runs the city? Does the administration take direction from the council, or is it kind of the administration says, well, here's what you can do, and gives council safe choices?
Well, I went through orientation. That was an eye-opener.
This is where they tell you what questions you can't ask?
Yeah. And so I was shut down twice in orientation by administration for questions I wanted to ask them.
You're the elected representative.
Oh, yeah. It was very disturbing, right?
So they just say, no, you can't ask about that?
Yeah. So they hired...
Does the mayor back you up on these things?
No, and that's the frustrating part, right? He allowed administration to take control of what council can't do, right? And he made promises that he has our back and he's going to fight for us and stuff, but I mean, it just seems council is a very ceremonial position right now.
I wonder how many voters actually understood this when they went to the ballots, and whether more of people in Calgary would have gone to the ballots if they knew just what was going on. I mean, we have been saying, there's been lots of people saying that the administration is in control over there in City Hall, and that the City Council tends to be a rubber stamp for just choosing between pre-approved options. Now you are saying that based on what you've seen so far in your Freedom of Information requests, in which they try to conceal information that frankly should be available to the public. It's a public organization. And now you're elected and you get told by administration that you're supposed to be controlling what you can and what you can't do. and then you get, and then in the one part where you might actually have some specialized knowledge that would be helpful, they shut you off.
Yep.
Well, Landon, it's going to be a long 4 years.
I'm not going to waste a second of it, right? I'm okay with doing what I have to do. And honestly, besides my little frustrations with government in general, I'm not a small government person. I'm just a smaller government person, right? But our Ward 14 has been a piggy bank for the rest of the city for a very long time. We have no major capital projects that people can actually use or can enjoy, right? And so my goal was to bring engagement back, right? It was
we're at Ward 14. I mean, for people who don't know the city as well,
right?
Maybe what part of the city are we talking about that has no capital projects?
Yeah, so we're in the south. We're basically south of Anderson.
Okay,
and it goes all the way down to Legacy. We've got Mackenzie Town, so it's awesome. We surround Fish Creek. It's a great place that I've lived almost my entire time in.
Okay, so you're saying that the tax base down there is making possible a lot of things in other parts of the city, and actually cost them a lot.
That's right. And so my goal is to bring that engagement back. I'm telling everybody to think big, right? The city owes us a lot, right? And I want to make sure we get what we're owed, right? And I get we're not going to get rid of taxes, but there is funds available for fun, right? A recreational center. Like we don't have a pool. We don't have an ice rink. We don't have any library. We don't have any city ran facility. The only one in the entire city, that Ward 14, does not have any sort of facility. Then that's frustrating for a lot of new families down there where we have to go somewhere else to go to a library, go to a pool, go to a skating rink, go wherever, right? So I want to bring that back. I want to bring some value back to Ward 14. And that's what I'm going to fight for. I'm going to bring that same level of fight that I would bring, to that recall I did, to any frustration. I want to bring that fight for Ward 14, right? It's just, we've been misrepresented for a very long time. The leadership is just wasn't there for, in my opinion, a long time. And that's why there was such a small voter turnout. Just frustration, a lot of fatigue, a lot of for frustration. And I think that is why I won. I think people did appreciate the fight in me, and they want that fight to fight for them. So that's what I'm going to do. So
good luck, Landon.
Yeah.
Well done. You got elected. Now you're finding out what it's like in there. Stay the course.
Appreciate it.
4 years.
Yep.
Welcome to the Western Standard.
Thank you, sir.
And for the Western Standard, I'm Nigel Hannaford. Thank you for being with us.